Hello, I'm Helene Kruithof.
And I'm Noor Lohman. Today we're going to talk about what fear is and deal with some of the things many people are afraid of. So Helene, what is your biggest fear?
Well, it's pretty strange actually because there's only one big fear I have, and that's roller coaster rides. I once stood in the middle of the jungle in Peru in front of a banana spider and I wasn't even scared. But when I'm in a roller coaster, I just feel like I'm dying. So now you know my fear, so what's your biggest fear?
I think my biggest fear is fire, because when you're at home and it's, for example, night and the house will be on fire, then your friends or family or housemates, they are in trouble and you're in trouble as well. So that's pretty scary. So I think that's my biggest fear.
I can imagine that, yeah. So luckily we'll not have to face either one of these fears today, but maybe we'll deal with one of yours in today's show.
Welcome to Scarizona. We're going to face some of the fears our reporters have here in northern Arizona.
Well, I know for a fact that Vincent has a terrible fear of snakes.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Let's go with Vincent as he visits Red Rock State Park to learn more about rattlesnakes and maybe even find one.
We're here at Red Rock State Park in Sedona, where it's very hot and dusty. And that's exactly the environment that rattlesnakes like. To be honest with you, I'm very afraid about these creatures, but I'm also very curious about them. So let's dive into the rattlesnake world.
Arizona has 13 species of venomous rattlesnakes, which is more than any other state in the country. Because rattlesnakes are cold-blooded, they prefer living in a hot environment. This is why they flourish well in Arizona. Due to the warm winter, snakes came out of their hollows early this year. And boy, they are hungry. Ranger Paul Flocken can tell us more about the snakes within this area and these strange circumstances.
Yeah, we have several different kinds of snakes. We have a gopher snake, and we have, of course, the infamous rattlesnake, okay, that everyone wants to stay away from. We get probably maybe a dozen sightings a year here, at least once a month. And that, whether we see them or not, they see you.
When a rattlesnake is in danger, it will start to rattle his tail. Though, this is the only way to notice them, since they are very well camouflaged and mostly hide between rocks. Snakes see you, whether you see them or not, so watch it, because before you notice them, it might already be too late.
I have experience in both the the non-lethal, friendly type snakes, if you want to call them that, king snakes, gopher snakes, and also the rattlesnake. I was hiking, this was actually in California, in Northern California, with rattlesnakes like boulders and big rocks and stuff like that, so a lot of times they'll go up on the rocks and sun themselves. So we were hiking a trail. We never saw the snake, but we heard it. And it's like the old saying, if you've ever heard a rattlesnake, you'll never forget what it sounded like.
Now I've seen all this, I'm even more afraid of snakes. But I know a place where they're a lot less scary. So let's now go to a location where they view snakes in a completely different way.
The Cowboy Club is a Wild West themed restaurant and can be found in uptown Sedona. They serve the finest buffalo steak and fresh seafood. Though, there is something special on the menu, rattlesnake. Cook Michael Lucas has some more insight on this typical dish.
Some people say, "Whoa, it tastes like chicken," but it's got a little different texture to it. It's texture is like snake, I guess you'd say. Some pieces are a little more tougher than others, but it is what it is. It's a rattlesnake. We buy a rattlesnake from out of state because it's illegal to harvest venomous animals here in Arizona, rattlesnakes. But we do serve rattlesnake. We do put it on a skewer, dip it in a tempura batter, and fry it, and then serve it to our guests.
So after all, shouldn't the snakes be more afraid of us than we are of them? Enjoy your dinner. For NHTV Scarizona, I'm Vincent Mosmans.
I didn't expect that Vincent would end up eating his own fare. I'm glad that wasn't me.
Well, I have to say, I once ate rattlesnake and I recommend it to you because it's pretty good, and like the cook already said, it tastes like chicken, but I think it's better than chicken.
But how does that skin feel?
Well, they took the skin off and then they fry it, so they serve it like that and you can eat it.
That sounds better. Well, I've learned that most snakes can be found in low areas, under rocks and ledges.
But then I guess Amber won't have to worry about snakes where she's going. Amber has a fear of heights, and that's exactly what this next segment is about. Let's see how Amber faces her fear of heights.
I'm currently standing in front of the San Francisco Peaks, and to see how high and scary it really is, we are taking the sky ride to check it out, so let's go.
During the sky ride up to the top, it might be a bit scary at first to start moving around. But if you do this, the ride gives you a great opportunity for photography and observing wildlife. Of course, you can also just enjoy the peaceful ride up and down. The Snowball Sky Ride starts at a base elevation of 9,200 feet and rises up to a summit elevation of 11,500 feet. The vertical drop from the top of the sky ride amounts to 2,300 feet.
So after 30 minutes, we're up now at 11,500 feet on one of the highest and tallest mountains of northern Arizona.
While some people only see the danger in being up so high, others get over their fear of heights when seeing how beautiful the view can be. So if you want to find a way to relax and enjoy the amazing view from the top, the Snowball Sky Ride is the place to be.
However, some of us like to seek adventure up high, and that's why we're checking out the Route 66 zipline.
The manager of the Route 66 zipline, Zane Johnson, says that they once had an 84-year-old woman ride the zipline.
Get a lot of people here, they want to get it off their bucket list. 84-year-old lady come one time, wanted it off her bucket list, and I just explained to them it's a nice smooth ride. It's like riding a ski slope. You're just a lot higher in the air. So even people with vertigo and that, they still come off of it smiling, just enjoying the whole experience.
The zipline first takes you back at a 30 miles per hour speed up to the top. At 110 feet high, you glide back down over the 700 feet long track. Our last stop is the south rim of the Grand Canyon. This is where the Bright Angel Trail is located. If you want to go down the trail, you can do it in style. There are highly trained mules which you can ride down. However, the trail gets more narrow the further you go down.
So we're at the south rim right now, and as you can see, the view is superb, but not for people who have a fear of heights. For NHTV Scarizona, I'm Amber Solomon.
I admire Amber right now. Who would have guessed that she dared to do that?
Well, when I saw the shots from above from the zip line, even I got a little shaky.
For a completely different fear, let's take a look at something that most people think is scary.
Here in Flagstaff, there are some stories going around that some of the public buildings may be haunted here in Flagstaff. Let's go with Sophia to find out the details of these stories.
Flagstaff is a city filled with historical stories. Much of these stories are still unknown for its residents, including the haunting stories. So I will investigate these ghost stories. And the first one that took place at a train station. In 1926, the Edison, Topeka and Santa Fe Railroad Company built a new railroad track which runs right to the middle of this building. Unfortunately, an accident occurred on this track, which resulted in a brakeman being killed. The man was crushed between the couplings of two boxcars. Visitor Service Assistant Craig Rose says that his presence still lingers.
The only thing you feel down here in the basement is the cold when you know he's down here. When it's warm down here, we know he's not down here. A lot of times he just travels through the building because he still believes he's working at the railroad where they originally ran.
Only reason that Craig saw the ghost is because of a 7-year-old boy who was taking the pictures in the basement.
The picture that we're looking here is the only one that really clearly shows his head, and it's over in the corner that's in the coal room. And if you notice on these three here, they're always taken by the green door, and there is a green door in that coal room.
The second haunted story is about the Emerson School. And even though that the school has been replaced by a library, they say that the site is still haunted. Emerson's doors were opened in 1895. In his early years, the janitor of the school is said to have killed his family before taking his own life inside the building. Many librarians and patrons are claiming to have seen a shadowy figure in the garage downstairs. They seen a figure ascending a long staircase that does not exist anymore. The next part of the investigation is the home of Theatricus. The building was built in 1923 and has been through a lot of different uses. The operation manager Drew Purcell has done a research of his own with some creepy results.
There's a ghost which would occasionally pop up over right in this corner. Oftentimes during a performance, people would see someone up there and assume that it was an audience member who'd gotten up, and then they'd, when the lights are shining in your eyes, it's very disorienting, and so they just get a glimpse out of the peripheral vision. And the story is that the ghost over there was wearing turn-of-the-century clothes, really hard to pinpoint. There's a chimney which is bricked over, which is right over there. It's interesting that people saw something right over there where that chimney is.
Behind me, there's the ghost, and a lot of actors and employees are afraid to go in that room because they feel the spirit of the ghost. So let's keep it very quiet.
Theater people are superstitious. Many theaters claim to have ghosts, and just theater people and arts people in general. I know from experience they just tend to be tuned into those sort of things. So I think if this building was an accountant's office, these stories may still be floating around, but because we're a theater, that really makes them more prominent and makes people more attuned to look for them.
Stories are just stories, but not facts. But even stories can give you the chills. So it's up to you to believe it or not. But maybe Flagstaff is haunted. For NSTV Scarizona, I'm Sophia Shayadi.
I didn't know that there are so many ghost stories here in Flagstaff.
So Nora, do you actually believe in ghosts?
Well, I used to be skeptical, but then I was in a place that was supposed to be haunted, and then I was with other people and they felt something, they heard something. So now I'm a little bit less skeptical because they felt things.
Well, I have to say I'm pretty skeptical about it because I never experienced anything like that, and I really think you have to experience it to believe it. So, did you know that south of Flagstaff in Sedona, there's apparently a hotspot for extraterrestrials?
Manon talks with ufologist Melinda Leslie about UFOs. Melinda Leslie says she was abducted by aliens. Here's her story.
All I could remember right away was these 3 gray aliens standing next to my bed. Had a big, large, bald head, big black wraparound eyes.
We're here in Sedona on a mission to find out more about the extraterrestrial activity. Sedona is a world-renowned spiritual center known for its vortexes and the UFO sightings.
Sedona has one of the highest concentrations of UFO sightings in the United States. Some say the aliens are attracted to the magnetism in the red rock spires. Many of the sightings have been near the 4 major vortex areas, with over 50 at Bell Rock alone. Next to the vortexes, there's also another place to go in Sedona for some extraterrestrial atmosphere.
We're standing in front of the one and only ET Encounter Diner in Sedona. Let's take a look inside.
The ET Encounter Diner, originally called the Red Planet Diner, creates an out-of-space ambience throughout the diner by means of its decorations and even the t-shirts its employees wear. But this diner only creates atmosphere. For a real extraterrestrial activity, we visited the Center for the New Age. The Center for the New Age is a free-flowing spiritual movement in Sedona. The center also organizes UFO tours. Alien abductee and expert Melinda Leslie is part of this movement and opens up about her abduction experience.
I am located at the Center for the New Age in Sedona, Arizona. I have been a UFO researcher investigator, what's typically referred to as a ufologist, for 25 years, and I'm a specialist in abduction research, alien abduction.
Melinda wouldn't wish abduction on anyone. It would traumatize you for life.
So first you have the first trauma of, oh my God, I'm being taken, it's against my will, this is frightening, I'm having medical stuff being done to me. You know, imagine if doctors came into your home at night and drugged you, took you out, and performed procedures on you. We have words for that. It's called kidnapping.
Though UFO sightings aren't harmful, and for UFO sightings you're in the right place. Northern Arizona is one of the best spots to experience extraterrestrial activity.
Sedona is a hot spot for UFO sightings. It always has been. The Native American Indians living here, going back thousands of years, said they had regular contact with the star people. It's always been an area known for sightings, for UFO sightings. When I first had those sightings, I had a paradigm change, a belief system change. When I take people on my tours, I witness that happening for other people, where they get to have that belief system change, that paradigm change. And then they see it and they know it's real for themselves.
I haven't seen anything yet, but that doesn't mean I won't stop looking. For NHTV Scarizona, I'm Manon van Wouwen.
All fears are different, but they all have something in common. It's not how you get over it, but how you deal with it. That makes a difference. So Elaine, you're afraid of roller coasters, but have you ever been on one to deal with it?
Yeah, well, I was on one several times, and I tried it last year at the fair. But I am even nervous when I'm standing in the line, like, so, okay, what's going to happen? And well, then when I was in the attraction, I actually wanted to go out immediately, but I couldn't. So I won't try it again, I think.
Okay.
So this sounds like a perfect ending for this fearful show.
Once again, I'm Nora Lohman.
And I'm Elaine Kruithoff. And this has been Scarizona.